So, yeah, my name's Paul. Thanks for the introduction, Adrian. From Telecoms Cloud, we're based on Parliament Street, above the Baltic Social and Elevator Studios. So I'm going to be telling you a brief little sort of whistle-stop tour of Telecoms Cloud, who we are and what we do, and then we'll get straight into the fun stuff and do some coding. So I'll give you a brief overview of what Telecoms Cloud is. So Telecoms Cloud, the phrase that we've come up with that we're using at the moment is a telecoms engine for the Internet of Things. So what do we mean by a telecoms engine? Well, it gives you access to lots of telecoms features to incorporate within your website, web app, mobile app, connected device, any Internet of Things device. For instance, voice, so you can do things like trigger phone calls when something happens or when you need a phone call to be made within your device or program or whatever, and do things like provision and set up phone numbers in real time, change their destinations, change what happens when a phone number is wrong, and all that sort of stuff. SMS, and that's what we're going to be focusing on mainly tonight, so sending of text messages, receiving of text messages, things like SMS shortcodes and things like that, all without any actual SIM card required and connection into the mobile network yourself. Fax as well. Fax is still used quite a lot in the world, believe it or not. So it's sort of bringing fax into the 21st century. So without having to have a BT phone line and an actual fax machine, paper, toner, ink cartridges, and all the rest of it. So you can use our API to send and receive faxes just in code with PDF files. So that sort of brings it forward to the modern day. Data tools as well. So the API allows you to manipulate phone numbers, change them between local format, national format, E.164 format, which is the international recognized format for international numbers. Look up things like phone number information, so who's the range holder, is this a BT number, is this a Virgin Media number, what's the local exchange for this customer, what are the ADSL speeds they're likely to get. So there are lots of applications that you can think of where that would be useful for things like call centers, price comparison websites, anything like that. So we give customers access to our entire network. There's no big investment, no sort of minimum volumes that they have to commit to, no special hardware or network agreements, nothing onerous and big and scary for small startup organizations that need telecoms functionality within their app, device, business, application, whatever. And it's dead simple and dead easy to get up and running. You literally just go to the website, sign up, you get £5 free credit on your account straight away, so there's literally no financial outlay to start using us. And then with a few it's a cliche, but it is a few lines of code, and you're up and running straight away. So us as a company, our vision is to be the go-to telecoms provider for the cloud and the Internet of Things by 2020. We want to be the provider that when anyone is talking about the cloud, Internet of Things, and whenever there's any telecom related requirement, whether that's to make or receive phone calls, text messages, anything, we want Telecoms Cloud to be the go-to provider. So all our services are also consumable via the web portal. Those are services we've been offering for many years, and we do a lot of work as well with the NHS, especially for their fax provision, as well as for telephone lines. And we also provide services to anyone from one-man bands, a plumber who wants to not just give his mobile number out and wants to be able to do things like record phone calls or change where the number directs at different times of day, or if he's using his personal number, he wants it to stop ringing after 8 p.m. so he can have his tea in peace type thing. We provide all of that to them. So we're a small team, there's 12 of us. On the website you'll see all of our names and faces. And we're headquartered on Parliament Street, about a 20-minute walk from here, and that's our HQ. And we've just taken on an R&D desk in the room next door in Does, Liverpool, and that's where we've been building things like the ticker screen over there. And we've just opened a second office space in London, so we've got a presence down in London now to meet with clients, potential developers and workers there. And that's in Shoreditch, so that's in the sort of London equivalent of the Baltic Triangle up here in Liverpool. So yeah, we're a small company, but with a large footprint, as you'll see. So our network, we operate under the Ofcom general licensing regime. So even though we're a team of only 12, we're playing up there with the big boys like BT and Sky and Virgin. So that means we're a tier 1 operator, and we've got our own number ranges from Ofcom. So when you use our own API to check who the owner of a number is on our numbers, it will come back Telecoms Cloud. So the official technical term for who we are legally in terms of telecoms is a public electronic communications service provider. Now, one of our USPs is that we offer both SIP and traditional PSTN or TDM networks. So if you have a requirement, or if our customer's customer has a requirement to use traditional telephony as well, or instead of SIP over the internet, we can offer that, and a lot of our competitors can't do that. So that's a unique selling point that we have. We've got equipment in every single UK phone exchange, which is quite a big USP. So if a customer goes onto our website and buys, say, an 0161 Manchester number, as soon as they press pay, it actually talks to their local exchange in Manchester and turns on the number instantly. So a lot of customers are very impressed by that, the fact that they can be ordering their number, dial it, dead tone, press pay, dial it again, and then it's alive straight away. Everything's completely in real time, completely automatic. And that's why we can do what we can do with such a small number of people, because everything's done automatically. It's all on the web. So we've got direct connections into all the main UK network operators, O2, 3, Virgin, etc. Vodafone.
Is that SS7 Backhaul?
Yeah, SS7 into all of them.
I forgot it was.
And we're also now on Telecity, which is a data center provider, have recently launched a service called Cloud IX, which we're a part of. So that means that because we have equipment located in various Telecity data centers, any of our customers who also have equipment in Telecity data centers can jump onto that network and connect directly into the Telecoms Cloud, so not sending the traffic over the public internet. So for things like privacy, reliability and speed, we're up there as well. So that's Telecoms Cloud in a nutshell, a very sort of whistle-stop tour. So I'm going to give you a little demo of something using the API, which is in the center of the table there. So this is it's a front door, and when you open it, it sends an SMS to say the door has been opened with the time and date, and then when you close it, it sends you a message to say it's been closed. So this is just an example of any action somewhere in the real world which triggers the Telecoms Cloud API to do something. And in this case, it's send a text message. It could equally be make a phone call or do anything else. It could even be send a fax when you open your front door. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but if you want to, you can. So this uses a Raspberry Pi and just basic shell scripts, and it uses a flat text file to store the access credentials for the API. So the purpose of this demo is it's extremely lightweight, and the only dependency with the shell scripting is a little program called JQ, which allows you to pass JSON data on the command line. Apart from that, it's using a Raspberry Pi, which costs about 25 quid, and some little magnetic sensors, and you can build something that's, I think, quite impressive with that. So these are some little pictures of it as well there. So get onto the demo. So I've got my phone here, and yeah, Google Now is telling me that I must leave now to go to my talk. So if I turn the volume up, yeah, it's like, oh no, I must go.
It's like Google Now 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah, Google 10 minutes ago. So if I open this door now, it should be within 60 seconds. It's the best we've got is sort of within about 3 or 4 seconds. So it should, within about 3 or 4 seconds, send me a text on there. So if I open the door now, timing. There we are. How long was that? 7.3. 7.3, not bad. So what I'll do is just move over the shell script onto here. So you can see what I've done is set it so that it echoes out onto the screen what it's going to send as a text. So that's immediate. So if I If I close that, we should hear the tone. So if I close the door, there we are. What was that? 10.1. Wait, it's all under 60 seconds.
It's the network. It's
Yeah. I think someone's just hung their washing out over there because of the NAT mast.
It's the amount of people in this room. It's the meat in the room. The RF signals can't.
So this we'll just flood the network with text now when you open the door. So there we are. So I'll show you very briefly some of the code to that. So we're first of all setting our Telecoms Cloud sort of client ID and secret, which is a bit like the username and password. And then we're storing in a text file locally the credentials to access the API. And then we've got a function which gets a new access token from the API and then returns that. We've got a function that saves the access token in the local file. And you see that's there where I'm calling the JQ file program, which lets you pass the JSON data on the command line. And then this function here, which is a bit more complicated, this gets an access token to use with the API. If you don't know what an access token is, you'll understand in a minute when we get to that. So first of all, it looks to see if we have an access token saved, and then it looks to see if we have one saved, is it less than an hour old? Can we still use it? If we can't, it's expired, we need a new one, so run the get new access token. If we haven't got one at all and no file exists, then create a file, get a new access token, and save it. And then the function to actually send the text is very simple. Grab an access token so we can talk to the API, and then use the SMS outbound feature there, and then send the message. The bash script, which actually runs when the door is opening, looks at input 4 on the general purpose input output on the Raspberry Pi, and then just been texted again. And then there it is, where that's the message that was echoed out onto the screen a minute ago, and then it sends the text and there when it's opened, and sends a text when it's closed. So it's dead simple, but lots of potential applications in the wild, which might be more useful than your actual front door opening and closing. When we put this on Twitter last week, some people pointed out that if parents get hold of this, the kids will hate you. And I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. So yeah, lots of possibilities that you could use something like this for. Obviously, a front door, which we've got on the demo there. Any sort of home security. So you could obviously set up your Raspberry Pi to only activate when your house alarm's on. So if your house alarm does get set off and your door opens whilst your alarm is set, then obviously you'd be more interested in receiving a text to say, someone's opened your front door, you might want to know about that. You could also put it on a safe, so if you've got something of high value in your safe and you want to know if someone's opening it and it only opens now and again, then you could have a text to say your safe has been opened. And you'd also get one to say it's been closed again, so you'd know if the thieves are sort of being neat and when they rob your house. Another potential application, slightly more useful this time, is if you have a mailbox that's at the end of a long drive and you have to go down and check it every morning to see, has the post arrived? Well, if you've got one of these on your post box, of course, it would just text you to say the postman's been. Now you can do the 5-mile trek to the end of your drive if you're rich enough to have a 5-mile drive. Or for communal post boxes, we're actually thinking of building a bigger version of this for our post boxes in elevator studios, because we need to ask the landlord's permission first, but we'll gloss over that. There's a big array as you get in office blocks of all the post boxes, and it's Andrew's job, isn't it, to go down and check the post every day. But with one of these, we could just get a text to say, the post has been, and you've got post today, because we don't get post every day.
Implemented that. If you want to implement it in the thing it does, you can close the issue that we've got that says IoT file the pigeonholes for the post.
Yeah. So.
Thinking of ideas for this as well, I'd recommend thinking about elderly people.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
Because they love text messages.
When my nan goes out, it's good to know that she's got that.
Oh, yeah, so on her door, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, so it texts you to say, the door's been open and she's
Well,
back and stuff.
Not particularly me.
Someone.
So you don't care about an app that's
Yeah.
something
Well,
Yeah.
right?
if I'm
Yeah.
going to do it, I'd
Yeah.
build an app, but
You,
my
you,
uncle.
you get a push notification or something. Yeah.
But my uncle and my auntie won't do that, so
Yeah.
it'd be good for them.
Yeah. What we'd like to do as well is put a magnet on every post box. There's, must be about 20 or 30 post boxes, so we could have sort of a central database that the landlord with a web interface can go and edit. This post box belongs to this company. This is the number. So everyone in the whole building could benefit. And
Or just you offer as a premium service.
well, yes, yeah, yeah. Well, no, we'd be we'd be getting the fee every time a message goes as well. So we'd be there opening the post boxes. So yeah, many other possible uses, as you say, for the elderly as well. So we're going to do some coding now, and we're going to build our own. So if anyone's got their laptop open with a web environment on, if you haven't, if you want to sort of crowd round someone who has, we'll do some stuff. The first thing you want to do. Oh, by the way, sorry. This is this tutorial is accessible on our website as well. So if you go to Developer API tutorials, and then go to install a PHP client from GitHub with Composer. So if you want to open that page on your laptop, then rather than having to type out everything when we get to the code samples down here, you can cheat and copy and paste. So the first thing you want to do is run apt-get update. Okay, and then you want to install Git. So that's sudo apt-get install Git. You may already have it installed, but just to make sure. So what we want to do now is change into the web directory on our machine. So that's normally var www. I think on this one it's /html. That's it. And then if we check the directory contents to see what we've got in there. Now that folder I've got there, API, is when I was testing it earlier to make sure it did work. But I'll create a new directory. So if you go make directory, and I'll call it does. And it might help if I am sudo.
Yeah, I just did that.
Yeah. Little shortcut to redo the last command is sudo $! And it will redo what you last failed to do. Yeah. When you make as many mistakes as me, So what we want to do now is change the owner of that folder to be us, so that we're allowed to do stuff in it. So if you go change owner, then your username, and then does on there, and then that should now be ours. Yeah, so that's owned by Paul FP. So now change into it. And the first thing you want to do is clone the repository from GitHub. So this is our PHP client. You don't need to use the PHP client. You can use the API from any program language, any application you like. And there are tutorials on the website to use it through PHP without the client if you want, but it makes it easier, so we'll do that. So if you do git clone, and then it's https github.com/telecoms cloud / now our developers called it FAPIC, which stands for PHP API client. So download that's nice and fast. And then if we list the directory contents, we should see a folder called FAPIC. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we now change into that, and we want to install Composer, so use curl for that. Stop me if I'm going too fast. So it's curl dash lowercase s, then uppercase s, and it's getcomposer.org. So getcomposer.org/installer, then a space, then a pipe, then another space, then PHP.
What is this Composer?
Sorry?
What is it, this Composer?
So Composer is like a package manager. It allows you to you specify dependencies that your project needs in order to run, which might be other libraries from other places, and then it allows you to get them all in together.
For PHP.
For PHP, yeah.
Like MPF. Do you use Node?
No, it works.
So if we now run php composer.phar install, so this is now getting all the dependencies that the PHP client needs. So obviously you only need to do this once per project, and then you can use the API completely there. So that's all done. So now we want to move back to our root directory. So I'll go back there. And then what you need to do, if you haven't already, is get your API keys for the Telecoms Cloud. So if you go to telecomscloud.com and then press login up there, and it will give you the option to sign up if you haven't already. I'll log in. So is there anyone who's following along who needs an account? Do you want me to pause while you sign up? Yep. So once you're logged into your account, it'll take you to the My Account page there automatically, and then if you scroll down to API settings, and then you need to press Enable API Access. What this will do is it will generate a client ID and client secret for you, which is what we saw on the screen before. So press Enable API Access. Now, obviously this you don't want to be shared, so I'll be revoking these after the demo. Now that's the only time you'll see that client secret, so don't navigate away from this page or just save it in Notepad or something. So you've got that there. Now you'll see underneath, for sending SMS, you need to send from a number. Now you can send from any service number you have on your Telecoms Cloud account, but if you don't have a service number on your account, you can use that as a sort of default number. You can't receive messages back on it, and no one will specifically know it's you, but it's like a marker on the network. So if you don't have a number, it at least lets you send something. So we'll be using that in this demo.
Is there a way of, like, if you've got an actual mobile number to, like, link it somehow?
There is technically, but we've restricted it so it has to be a number that's on your Telecoms Cloud account, just because it's a lot easier to stop people spoofing then, because you could, in theory, send messages and then make it appear to be from, say, Barclays Bank, and obviously we don't want that. So we've taken it's a policy decision really to say it's got to be a Telecoms Cloud number or this default one. So if your mobile number is provided by Telecoms Cloud, then yes. But if it's provided by another network, you'd have to port it into us to do that.
I want to have a chat with about what you provide.
Yeah. So if we go back to our shell now, so we've configured our access keys. Now the first thing we need to do now is create a little database on our machine, and that will store our access keys and our access token as well. So if you go to, I've installed Php Myadmin to make it a bit easier. Obviously you can do it all from the shell if you want. Am I still logged in? No.
Probably logged out as well. Yep.
So if you go to users, add a new user, I'll call it Does Liverpool. I'll generate a password, which I'll hold on to. Oops. And then, for the purposes of the demo, we'll just give all privileges to the user. Obviously, you'd want to restrict it a bit more than that in the real world. Create that there. So that's created me an empty database. So at this point, I'm going to cheat as well, just to make it a bit quicker. I'm going to copy and paste some of that code rather than typing it all out for you. So if I go to API tutorials. So the first thing we want to do now is we'll run a script that will only run once ever when you for your application, and that basically creates you a table in that database and sets it up to store your access credentials, and that's a built-in feature of the PHP client. So we'll grab this little bit of code here. which will let us do that. So if you go back to our dev environment, and I'm going to make, I'll call it does.php, keep it consistent. Paste that into there. So that's all good to go, apart from we obviously need to put our client ID, client secret into there. So if you nip back to the web page that you've kept open and copy the client ID. And then client secret. Oops, not that one. And then we need to put in the database name, which was does Liverpool. Username was the same. And the password was in Notepad. So if you do the same. So just to briefly explain what's happening in this little script, we're first of all pulling in the autoload file for the PHP client, which pulls in everything we need. We're specifying which API it is we're talking to, so the URL. So it's HTTPS. Now the API only works over secure HTTP, and if you try and talk to it over standard HTTP, it won't even acknowledge your presence. The reason it does that is to stop people even trying to communicate with it on there, because that would reveal your account credentials. So your client ID and client secret, and then we're specifying the database, creating a database object, and then we're going to run create table, which will create us a table. So if you exit and save that, and then to run that, just type PHP and then the name of your script. And you won't get any output. It'll just do that. And if you don't get any errors, that's good.
Yep, no errors.
No errors. Having run that, if you go to your previously empty database, there'll now be a table in there called Telecoms Cloud API credentials, and that consists of nothing at the moment, but it'll store your client ID and client secret, because of course they might change over time, because you might revoke them and regenerate them, and your access token, and when it expires. Now that we've done that, we can start to actually talk to the API. So if you go back into the script that you've just made, and then we'll never need that create table again, so we can comment it out, or we can just delete it, because once the table's made, unless you delete it, you'll never need that again. So what we'll do now is create an object, and we'll call it Telecoms Cloud. And we're going to go new. You've got your namespace thing here, so it's like that. And then we're going to pass to that the base URI, then the storage, then the client ID, and the client secret. So we've created an object called Telecoms Cloud, and then the most basic thing that you can do with the API is check that you're talking to it okay, and it will also confirm to you your details and your credit balance as well. So if I go, I'll go var dump, and then go Telecoms Cloud, account info, open bracket, close bracket, and then wrap that all in your var dump. I'll leave that on there for you to catch up.
Links.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
All good? Yeah. So if you save that and run it,
Can't help it.
you'll get, it'll pass you back an array. Yeah, so that will confirm to you in case you need to know in your script your username, so you can make sure that you're connecting with the right account, because of course your client ID and secret bear no resemblance whatsoever to your username to log into the website for the portal. It'll confirm your email address as well in case that's how you're identifying yourself. It'll tell you your credit balance, so that's obviously very important because it's credit with some but not all of the services are prepaid, and you top up your account with pay-as-you-go credit to use them. So obviously you're going to want to know if you're running low to sort out your top-ups. It'll tell you how many active services you've got on your account currently, so that'll be useful if you're using the API to set up new services and you want to run a little check in your program to say, that should be one more than it was before now. It'll tell you your balance, your credit balance, £9.84 active services, and it also tells you OK to say that you've connected OK, which is obvious because you've got all your details, but it's there anyway. So that's it. You're now talking to the API. You're up and running and working. So let's send the text. So if you edit that again, and this time we'll comment out that line. We might need it again, and we'll create a new variable called SMS, and we'll use the Telecoms Cloud object that we've created before, and then do a little arrow, and then the name of the method is send SMS, nice and simple. And we first pass to that the number we want to send to. So if you pop in your own mobile number there. So this is a bit I'll have to blur out on the YouTube channel. That's my personal mobile number. And then in there, you want to put the number you're sending from. Now, I can put that as any number that's on the Telecoms Cloud account, because I'm using the main company account. So I'll put our main number on there. What you'll want to do is, the page where you got your account credentials, get the number from there. And then, obviously it'll only send the first 160 characters of what you send anyway, but we'll just say, hello, this is a test in does Liverpool for hashtag IoT. Okay.
Hashtags in SMS. There you go.
Oh yes, yeah. And then what you'll get returned from the send SMS method is a unique ID of that message, and you can use that to query whether it's been submitted, queued, delivered, and status codes and things like that. So you as a provider then, because you're your own provider when doing this, can then power things like delivery receipts and make sure it's gone and stuff. So if I var dump that out, we'll be able to see. So if you run that, shouldn't get any errors. There we are. So it's passed me back that string, and any minute my phone should go. There we are.
So what was the var dump thing you just did?
So var dump was,
Oh,
so I've stored the output of send SMS in a variable called SMS, and then just dump out the SMS data on there, and then that gives you that string there, which you can use to pass the status. So yeah, I've just got a text. Hello, this is a test in does Liverpool. Cool. So not wanting to leave it there, let's turn that into a very basic little web form, so we can make it into a little. Oops, just sent it again by mistake. So if we do something like, if we have some post data, do that. Else, do a nice little form. So we'll do create a little HTML form. We'll say send to, make make a text form, we'll call it toNumber. And then the message. And then all we want to do here is substitute the toNumber with what we get from the form. Obviously you'd want to sanitize your input and stuff, but we can trust ourselves for this. So send it to the toNumber. That will stay constant in this program. And then we'll go, what did I call it? Message. Like that. So would anyone like to give me their mobile number? Yep. 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 Oh, was that 73? Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, Jarvis. Start timer.
Does it come through? So that unique ID for that message you use, you can use that to, as I said before, get your delivery status. What I'll do is that I'll show you that not through code. I'll show you how you can access the API through the live documentation. So if you point your web browser, so this is detailed documentation of all the sort of endpoints, but it's also live documentation as well. So if I expand that there, for instance, SMS outbound, it describes what you need to send to there. But it actually, it being live documentation, you can actually use the features and test them on there. So we'll need an access token, of course. So I'll cheat, and if we go to our table that was populated before, we've got an access token in there. So that will still be valid because I've not been waffling for more than an hour. So we'll copy that. So if you paste that into the top, don't do anything else, just paste it there. And then what I'm going to do is grab that unique ID from that message from before and paste that into the status endpoint in there. Paste that in there, and then you can see the response we get, that it was delivered at 8:01, 4 minutes ago. So it tells you when it was submitted by you and when it was dispatched, and then when it was received by the end user, so you can track it all the way through and see that it was received there. So you can do that with, you can actually send a message if you wanted. I could go, I'll send it to myself. There you are, it's come through.
What would be really nice is if you integrated with a transactional email provider. So we use Mandrill for our email, and that sends all the email on our behalf when people log in or sign up or action occurs.
Yeah.
And if I could use that same API and just say, oh, this time send an SMS, that'd be really convenient.
So you mean just with one API your end, but then do we?
Yeah. I was just thinking, so Mandrill's a reasonably well-known email service. There's others out there, but if you could treat them both in the same way and say, okay, for this particular customer, I'm going to send an email. For that one, I'm going to send a message in text.
Yeah, but I don't have to use a whole different API for it.
Yeah,
well,
really convenient.
That's basically what we're trying to do. So the tagline that we've come up with is one API, a world of possibilities. So by just implementing one API, you'll be able to to do everything you want. So we will be adding in external email functionality in the future, not because we are particularly good at email or can particularly add loads to the email experience, but if you're already using us for your messaging and your outbound calling, you might as well use us for the email as well. And then, as you say, it's less of an overhead because you're not going to implement someone else's API just for email when you're using us for everything else.
As someone who's now stuck with Mandrill, it'd be nice to just pull your functionality onto it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they allow that or not.
Yeah, that's possible.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, for people who are used to a particular API and a particular service, to be able to just bolt yours onto it would be really convenient rather than doing it the other way around and say, okay, I like this SMS feature, but I've got all these other things, and now rather than starting with SMS, I'm starting with I've already got email.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not. Yeah, that's something would be good. Yeah. If you want to see that tutorial again, it's on our website. Just go to API at the top and press tutorials, or it's /API/tutorials/install PHP client. When you sign up, you get a £5 free credit, so you'll have a little bit left. You can also, we're giving away free credit vouchers that gets you another £10 free credit. You can actually use it twice per account, so it gets you 20. So if anyone wants one of those, just, yeah. Have a couple, give one to a friend. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah, take a bunch. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah. There you are.
That wasn't massive stack,
Yeah. Oh look, there's a blank one in the middle. Yeah. That's worth £1,000. So, yeah. So that voucher's valid until the end of this year, and you can use it twice per account, so it gets you £20 in total. So if you need any more credit to play with after New Year's Eve, then just give us a shout, and we'll help you out there. So the question is, what will you build? So we want to start up a bit of a hall of fame on our blog. So if you build anything at all that uses our API for any reason, let us know, tell us about it, and we'll feature it in the hall of fame of creations on our blog. And we've also got a long-term, and yeah, we've got a long-term offer going on. So if you give us a shout out in any positive way on social media, or negative way, for each project, we'll give you £10 free credit to say thank you. So even if you just tweet a photo of yourself at your laptop with a sticker on or something, that's worth a tenner. Just tweet it. A t-shirt. Yeah. So so anything you build, let us know. If you need any help, then let us know and spread the word. Give the little cards out. I've got loads left, so if you want any more, just give them to whoever you think might be interested in using it. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and check out our website for full details and pricing.